channel. I am so excited for this video. If you are new here, my name is Karina and I am an SLPA sharing my family. I share speech therapy things and I share my lifestyle on this channel. Now, today's video is all about homeschool. It's sharing with you what a day in homeschool might look like for me as a working mom. It's sharing with you the main reason why I homeschool and why I will continue to homeschool. I realize this is not everybody's ideal situation. It's not like I'm trying to shove this down your throat. I'm just very passionate about this. I really am. In the past year, when my son was 2.5, I've shared this before on this channel, but it started as me just finding something else for my son to do because I was welcoming a new child. I was welcoming a lot of things in my life at that time. I felt like it was hard, just plain and simple. It was hard to have two. My son was only two, about 2 years, 4 months, when he started expressing interest in ABCs and 1, 2, 3s and more difficult puzzles. It seemed as though he liked a challenge. And so I went in for that. I leaned into that and I called it homeschool because I was finding myself just focusing a lot more on those things. So I went ahead and printed the ABCs, basic, templates for him to paint or to put pom-poms in, those little fuzzy balls. We were doing more creative things like using a pipe cleaner to bend it for the letter A, using Play-Doh. All these things I used to think was something a teacher should do, right? This is something they only do in preschool. Well, then I started working at a preschool, and it was just, at this point, I feel like it was God handing it to me, this is completely something you are able to do. When I see the classrooms, there's so much I still don't know. There's so much that teachers do and pour into their students. However, as a speech therapy assistant and a speechy mom, I just felt like I could replicate a lot of the preschool environment at home. And I thought, okay, it doesn't have to look like this, but it can look a little bit different and it can be tailored to my children's needs. That's where this has kind of taken off, where we started with just, okay, you need something extra to challenge you. It has become this true love for learning on both ends. My son enjoys, again, these challenges. He enjoys kind of memorizing things, I would say, and getting things down, with his shapes and stuff. And for me, I really like looking up things and being creative about how I can implement it at home. So to give you an example, when he already kind of passed everything with the ABCs and could identify things, I started buying more difficult puzzles for him. And he would work at it and work at it and work at it until he got it down. Same with shapes. When I would buy him a shape puzzle, he would work at it and work at it until he got it down. Then I started Googling, what does a 3-year-old need to know? Or what does a 4-year-old need to know before pre-K? And I used those things that I found and came across online as my objectives, my goals, and I wrote them down in my notes app in my phone. And I told myself, okay, I'm going to have a deadline. Maybe in 2 months, we're going to know how to use scissors. Maybe in another 2 months, we are going to be able to build, a tower out of 20 blocks or so. I tried to get as specific as I could be. Then when I met those goals, the feeling you get as a parent is just crazy. It was so motivating. Well, I'm going to keep going. I'm not just going to stop here and then take him into pre-K. No, I know I can do this. And I know that he's capable of learning these things. I've seen the growth. So let me continue. So after that, I found myself really looking for more structure. I needed something once a week, this is what you're going to do, and an activity to kind of supplement that. So here is where my library came in handy, and I highly encourage anybody to check out their library for these sorts of things. My library has backpacks with different sort of subjects. One might be math, and they're focusing on pennies and nickels and dimes. So this backpack, because we're at the library, They're going to have 2 library books on pennies, nickels, and dimes. They're going to have a laminated sheet for you to trace the pennies, for example. And then another one might be like some sort of Montessori activity or puzzle that you can play with about money to kind of go with that lesson. So I started using that. And then when I Googled even more, I started I started using Facebook a lot, to be honest. Facebook is where I started joining more and more homeschool sort of groups. And people had a lot of the same questions. We were questioning, okay, are we doing enough? Should we be doing more? What does homeschool look like for this age? And so a lot of people were recommending Easy Peasy Homeschool, which is completely free. That's something that kept me interested because I was not looking for spending money just yet. I was still trying to figure out, my son had just turned 3 at this point. I was trying to figure out if this is something I wanted to continue to do or if it was kind of just a phase, like for me as a mom, as the adult, like, oh, okay, something to do. But I did like it. I went on to Easy Peasy, looked up the pre-K curriculum. I printed out the things that I needed, and it was so helpful. Then I went on to the Good and the Beautiful website, and if you didn't know, this is another curriculum that offers a lot of free resources. So I printed their free sample of the preschool program, and that was enough for us. Easy Peasy combined with the Good and the Beautiful free printouts was enough. And it was enough to get us through an entire school year for me of teaching the basics. And we went all the way into the summer, and it's been great. Now, my son is 3.5, and we did finally decide to go forward with the Good and the Beautiful preschool. We have the course book this time, and while it was about $30, I think it was totally worth it. It's still completely affordable when I compare it to other curriculums, and because I think I spent so much time building on those basic, fundamental blocks, now this course is very easy for him, and we're able to go through a lesson a day or about 4 a week. Sometimes he may want to do more, and I think it's because we really took the time to sit and play and do a lot of learning activities, like hands-on. I think he's learned to love that. Now, as a working mom, I will tell you right now, it does get difficult. However, it's a really easy way to remind myself, this is what I want. This is what I'm going to continue doing for my kids because I know it's the best option. I want to quickly go back to preschool and what I mentioned, like me working there. I've gone back and forth, guys, if I want him to be there with me. And at this point in time, we are kind of saying no. That might sound crazy. Like me homeschooling at this age does not mean I'm committed to doing this until he's in middle school, high school. Like that's not what this means at all. My husband and I are taking this 1 year at a time. And I feel like I always have to explain that. When I tell people that I homeschool, people look at me like I'm crazy at first. And then I have friends that as months pass by, they kind of come back and they're like, hey, you know what? I know someone else that wants to homeschool. How do you do it? It doesn't sound so crazy anymore. I don't know if it's just, we're in 2024 and I realize a lot of things have changed, but I just hear more and more people homeschooling. And when I look at all the benefits that I could get out of this, I think it's great. When I look at the benefits that my son is getting, it's even better. But for now, being a working mom, again, has really solidified, like, this is what I want for my kids. This is what they will do, and I know it's the best thing for them. What this typically looks like for me is my kids stay at home. They stay at home with my husband. And so when I go to work, I have the entire morning with them. They wake up at about the same time that I do, so I have about an hour and a half getting their breakfast ready. I get their outfits ready for the day, and then most days we jump into homeschool, like first thing in the morning. If it's not in the morning, then we're doing it in the afternoon. And so at this point, my son is aware that we need to do some homeschool, and he knows that that's typically in the morning or in the late evening, whatever is more fitting for our schedule that day. Now, we do a lesson every day. about 4 times a week. So I would say Monday through Thursday. When I'm home, sure, I'm exhausted, but again, I'm prioritizing like that time to homeschool. And so we'll do just a lesson, which at this age takes about, I'm not going to lie to you, like 10 to 15 minutes. It's pretty fast. Max, I would say 30 minutes. It's nothing crazy. And then for my daughter, this kind of looks like just flashcards at this age. We're doing a lot of play. She has no formal education right now. She's just a year and a half. But I'll spend some time with both of them. My son already knows the drill. Like The Good and the Beautiful has a whole sort of script that you follow. And it's really easy to follow along with it. It's about a page or two for him to do. And I'm there to help him. After that, we're kind of free to do whatever. So if this is in the morning that we're doing homeschool, immediately after that, like we'll continue listening to music, or he'll go grab his toys to play in the room. Or if it's in the evening, at that point, we'll like do a dance party or something. Maybe we'll go outside. We just kind of continue on about our day. It does not take very long at all. But I will tell you, there's days, obviously, that I'm like, I really don't want to do this. I really don't have the time to do this. I have other things. And to me, that's the beauty in homeschool. If there's a day or a week where we're all sick, we're not feeling our best, or my son is just needing to really sleep that week, then we'll pause. So if you are a mom looking to homeschool, I highly encourage you to turn to all the free resources that you can find online. Start with Easy Peasy Homeschool. Start with The Good and the Beautiful. Look at their sample pages, print them out. Start with just playing with your child if they're, 3 or younger. I think these are just the best years that we could be giving to our kids. I hope this video brought you some encouragement. If it did, please make sure to give my video a like and subscribe to my channel as well. It'll mean so, so much to me. I will catch you guys in my next video. Bye.